Ever gone on a date and ignored all the red flags, just hoping it'll work out? Stop doing that. On this episode of 52, I'm talking with top tier matchmaker and dating coach Anna Morgenstern about the secrets to dating with clarity. We break down how to spot red flags early, hold your boundaries without guilt, and why dating a soulmate, not just a body mate, changes everything. So if you're done wasting time on the wrong people and want real results in love, this episode is your blueprint for dating smarter. So let's get started. Welcome back to 52, the podcast where we help you date with clarity, courage, and confidence. I'm Kelly, a former tech attorney turned dating and relationship advocate. And if you ever felt like modern dating is overwhelming, confusing, or just exhausting, today's episode is for you. Our guest is someone who has been helping men and women across the US, Europe, and Israel for over 10 years to find and maintain meaningful relationships. She combines the precision of matchmaking with hands-on coaching, helping clients pinpoint exactly who they are looking for, screen potential partners for alignment in values and goals, and even plan dates in beautiful, memorable locations. Her approach is perfect for high achieving men and women who want to outsource the hard work of dating without losing authenticity and get real results. Now, beyond matchmaking, she also helps clients understand how their past experiences or blind spots might be holding them back from nurturing new connections. Her coaching is rooted in deep market research and years of experience, so clients learn what it truly turns people off early on and how to create lasting relationships moving forward. So, on that note, we are thrilled to welcome Anna Morgenstern to the show today. Anna, thank you so much for joining us. Where are you tuning in from?
I have to say, I want you to be with me everywhere I go. That was the most amazing intro I've ever heard.
I'm just saying the
Uh,
truth. Like, I know you're
well,
not
well,
going to
thank
say it,
you.
someone has to. So,
I know. I'm gonna listen to that later and rewrite all the words down so I can say the same thing that you said for myself in other podcasts.
all the truth. Whenever you need me,
Um,
I'm there. We're there. You got
I'm
it.
I'm based in the Upper East Side, in New York. And originally from California, so I've always had clients kind of on both coasts. And my family originally is Russian Jewish. I was born in
Love
Russia.
it.
I was 2 when we came over. So I also have a lot of Russian Jewish people in my crew too.
Yeah.
But yeah, New York is definitely home.
Love it. We love having you here. West Coast is good, but East Coast, we win. I'm totally hear it from like my cousins now on the West Coast. They're gonna be like, no, West Coast is better, but we win. Always.
Yeah, it's hard to compare anything to New York, especially for dating.
Totally. Totally. Couldn't agree with you more.
Mhm.
It's so great having you here today with us. And to our listeners, you know what to do. Grab your coffee or your tea because we have some very relatable dating situations lined up today. Anna, before we dive in, I have to ask, and we're all very curious to know because we love love stories. Would you mind sharing with us how you met your husband? Congratulations. I know you got married recently, so we
Mhm.
would love to hear about this.
Sure. I think the story of how I met Zach is kind of funny because we met twice. We met first in 2016.
Okay.
He must have been like 35. I was 30. And he was working in finance still. I was still in advertising. I was in my fun festival girl era. I actually met
Mm.
him on Craigslist. I bought a Coachella ticket from
In
him
2016.
in 2016.
Oh my God.
And yeah, we became Facebook friends before we met in person to make sure we're both like normal people. And I was like,
Ugh.
oh, he's kind of cute, tall Jewish guy. Okay. But when we met in person, he was just all business. Here's your wristband. Where's my cash? Okay. And never thought of him ever again. But we stayed Facebook friends. And then the following
Love
year
it.
is when I started the matchmaking business and got into the dating industry. And he actually also left finance and he started working in the art world. So we kind of had like similar paths in life a lot. Like we even came to America from different countries in 1988. He came from Venezuela. I came from Russia. So we had really random things in common. And then December 2023, 2023 in general, I went through like a whole existential dating crisis where I was like, I've been doing the same thing for like 15 years. I need to change it if I want to have a different kind of relationship, meet a different kind of man. And I stopped drinking for that summer and stopped going on dates with guys that I really had only fun drinking with, but I didn't actually have anything in common with and didn't really like them for them. I just had fun with them. And I just realized like I can't keep doing that. So I stopped drinking, went on way less dates. and just really focused on things that made me happy with work and, relationships with my family and friends, and got into really good shape and just had really healthy habits. And also stepped more into Judaism and became a bit more observant and had that be a bigger part of my life, and was going to all these different galas and Shabbats and, all these things. And then when we saw each other on Hinge in December 2023, I sent him a like because I'm always on there, looking for cute guys to set up with clients or for myself too. And when he matched with me, he said, "Oh, you're the matchmaker." I was like, "Oh, did I set you up before?" He's like, "No, you never set me up, but I know you. Like, I know we met before, but we couldn't figure out how." And then when he called me, I was like, "Oh, you're the guy from Craigslist." And
Oh my,
then we went out, and
that,
then, it wasn't. I would say, and the rest is history, but not real. Like we had bumps in the road too, and
yeah.
I'm sure we'll hit on that later in the podcast
Ooh.
too. But 11 months after we met, we got engaged, and we got
Wow.
married almost 3 months ago now.
I love that. What a story. Honestly, it just goes to show don't ghost. Don't ghost someone because you never know. I love that like you kept in contact. And the self growth part is just that gave me goosebumps. I
Yeah,
really it's beautiful. I've come to see now over and over again with all of these stories that when people actually start aligning themselves with the best version of who they could become, it really sets them on the path towards who they're meant to be with. And like
totally.
your
And
story is perfect example of that.
thank you.
I
Yeah,
love
I
that.
think so many people keep doing the same thing year after year after year,
Yeah.
thinking they'll have different results when it comes to dating. I mean, any other aspect of your life, you wouldn't do that. Like if you want to
Yeah.
lose 10 pounds, you're going to keep eating brownies and pizza. That's not going to work. But for some reason
Yeah.
in dating, we haven't understood that we have to change things. We have to change things about ourselves that aren't the best. Like no one is perfect. We could all live a healthier lifestyle. We could all be reading more books, watching less reality TV, doing whatever. Like we could all improve ourselves. And when you find things that you're really passionate about, rather than just like brunch and whatever, like really tuning into your soul and like things that make you you, make you shine, that's when someone's going to see you and be like, wow, like I want to be connected to that person, like that person's shining. And I think a lot of us can kind of get lost in the shuffle of New York, especially with such a big drinking culture. And I think a lot of us get kind of lost here.
Absolutely. Great points. And you coming in to help now, the singles that submitted this question is going to be very exciting. So I'm excited for all of them. This is
Me too.
awesome. So are you ready to dive in?
Yes, please.
All right. We have a 36-year-old woman from Chicago who has been going on first dates but keeps ignoring red flags. One guy was attractive but told her upfront he didn't want kids. Yeah, she does. Another was fun and charming but admitted he wasn't looking for anything serious. Now, she still found herself hoping things would magically work out, and she wants to stop wasting time on men who don't share her goals. It almost sounds like she's like dating fantasies instead of realities. But our
Mhm.
first question, Anna, is you've said being picky about second and third dates is the real key to long term dating success. Sometimes we hear, though, that we shouldn't be picky. Can you explain why singles should be picky about second and third dates?
I think even before that, even before the first date, you shouldn't be going out with people that are not aligned with you and your goals. I think so many of us are caught up in like who's hot. Like he's hot. So I don't care if he's a felon. Like I'm just gonna, like you have to be exactly. Like we get
Mm-hmm.
caught up in things that don't actually matter. And then we confuse that sexual attraction with chemistry.
Yeah.
And reality, like I can't tell you how many times when I was dating, I'd meet these hot guys. And the second I got to know them, I was like, they're actually complete trash. Like they're not good people. And they became less attractive to me. On the flip side, when I met Zach, I thought he was cute, but the way I feel about him, like how attracted I am to him now, knowing who he is as a person, how he's a good son and a good brother, and he's just amazing. Like I'm way more attracted to him because of that. And I think that's what is kind of lost in dating is we want that initial spark and that initial just hot burning flame on a first date, but that's actually really misleading. So I think before the first date, you really have to qualify your matches. If I mean, bottom line, if someone doesn't want kids and you want kids, how did you even match with that person on that? But you shouldn't even have them in your queue of people to like because they should be outside of your preferences. So like qualify your matches. And so if they pass the initial like value screening, okay, like we both want kids, we both want to stay in New York, we both, want to raise kids in this religious background, we're both looking to get married and have kids in the next couple of years. Like the big things are aligned and like, okay, he's cute enough, our banter's good, then yes, go on the date. But where people get stuck of like keep going, keep going, keep going on these dates with people that you're not interested in is there's like a shame if we don't like someone. And we
Yeah.
feel that from
Like a
like,
guilt almost.
yeah, it's like, well, I should like him. He's so good. He's so this. And in reality, like, listen, some people you're just not gonna like. You just don't vibe with. There just isn't that banter, that playfulness that you're looking for. And that's okay. You don't need, thousands of people. You just need one person really. So I think if the second like someone's just not for you, put them out of their misery. Like I can't tell you how many friends I have that will text me and they'll just complain about a guy that they're dating and like he's this, he's not paying for this. It's like if you don't like him, then stop dating him. Like
Yeah.
no one's forcing you to date this guy. He's not the last man on earth. And if you
And
don't like
respect his
him,
time too, you know?
exactly, like he's probably wouldn't be very happy knowing that you're saying all these things behind his back. So
Yeah.
I think rather than looking for things that are bad about the person, find things that you like about them. And if there's like enough there, keep going. But if they annoy you and you're constantly complaining about them, then you're not vibing.
Yeah.
Let them go.
100%.
Like
100%.
make
And
space for someone else.
no, that's such a good point. And one thing I'm actually curious about, you brought up physical attraction in the beginning and how physical attraction could kind of blur our intentions moving forward or our compatibility, whatever it may be. What's your take on like having a first kiss on the first 3 dates? Do you think someone should wait? Do you think that that part should be waited on to really maintain that clarity?
Not really. I actually just had a conversation with a client about this last week. I feel
Yeah.
like if there's a moment and you're on the date and a kiss feels right, go for it. Because I've been on dates before when I wasn't sure if I liked the guy. I wasn't sure if there's chemistry. I wasn't sure if I really thought he was that cute. But then he kissed me and all that went out the window. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so attracted to him. So I think
Ah,
a nice guy who's like really has good intentions, he's not looking just to, do whatever. He actually
be
likes
an
the
F
girl and
boy
like
and all that. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. He actually wants to date her. Then and you're like kind of sometimes you get labeled as being like too nice, then you need to go for it more. Like go for the kiss, because women can be swayed kind of easily on a first date. So I think that definitely go for it. But if you are someone that you're just always going for that physical attraction and that rather than who the person is on the inside, then maybe hold off from the physical stuff for at least a couple of dates to see if you really like the person. So I think really depends on what your habits are in dating and if you really need to kind of take a step back or the opposite, like go for it more because you're too nice. So yeah, depending where
Totally.
you fall, either
Case
do
by
it or don't.
case. It's
Yeah,
case by case. I got that.
exactly.
No, that's a great answer. Thanks for that. And
Mhm.
when it comes down to it, why do so many singles, especially single women, convince themselves that they can change someone's mind about big things, like for example, in this case, kids or marriage or wanting something serious?
Yeah, I think that men are more like realists and women are more like fantasy land people. Because listen, like if someone tells you what they're looking for or someone shows you who they are when you first meet them, you have to believe them. And it's so many
They're not
women.
lying.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's the one thing that one of my friends told me I never forgot. Like when someone shows you their true colors the first time, believe them. And I think a lot of women tend to excuse behaviors because they think the guy's cute and they like his
Yep,
background. He works in this job and he did that, like they're excusing things because they're married to an outcome rather than seeing things for how they really are clearly. And I think
totally.
the one thing that we have to stop doing across the board is stop fantasizing after a date or two about what your wedding's going to look like, what dress you're going to wear, what your kids are going to look like, how the mansion you're going to live in, all that kind of stuff, which we tend to do as women. Like I've been on first dates thinking, he'd be pretty cute. Like on our wedding day, we could, no, like
Yeah.
I have to
Like
stop.
on the date, you're actually on the wedding.
Yeah.
Like it's like you're physically there, but mentally you're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
you're so right.
We tend to like get so ahead of ourselves. So that way, if a connection doesn't work out, we are way more disappointed by it because we had these big expectations. So that's the first thing that we need to stop doing. Guys don't really do this. Guys are very much in the moment. They like you today. Great. You got a date tomorrow. Like they're not thinking like, oh, well, she'll be great in a month from now or 2 years. They're not thinking like that. And as women, we have to be more in the moment, be more present. And, with the
Right.
data that we have available today, that's how we have to make decisions. And my sister always said, like, when you meet a guy, you're just collecting data. The first couple months, you are just collecting data, like up to 3 months. And then after that, you take all the data that you have and you decide, okay, this is someone I want to keep investing in or no, I actually don't like,
Yeah.
what I've seen and move on. So you have to be a little bit more logical, a little less emotional about it because you're making the biggest decision of your life. I mean, who
Yeah.
you tie yourself to financially, emotionally, your families are tied together, who you have kids with. It's a huge decision and you can't do it in fantasy land. You have to do it in reality.
100%. No, so true. And how could someone hold a boundary without feeling mean or too picky when they are being too picky?
A boundary sounds like a big, mean word, but in reality, like we all have boundaries. If my husband cheats
Right.
on me, I'm not going to be married to him anymore. Like there's a boundary there. I don't have to even say it. Like he knows. But I think in
Yeah.
early on in dating, the way you allow others to treat you is how they understand your boundaries. So you can't say like if someone like for example with this girl in Chicago, like if she keeps going out with guys that, don't want kids or are telling her they want anything serious, she's showing that's not a boundary for her. She's open. So she doesn't even have to say anything. With her actions, they see that she actually has no boundaries and they can do whatever they want. They can get away with whatever they want with her because she's not being firm in her, in her stance and things. So I think boundaries are just a result from having values because
I
your
love that.
value yeah, like if you don't have a boundary around your values, then that's not your value. So if she's saying she wants to, only meet men that are aligned with her, that want to have kids, that want to have a serious relationship, she's disrespecting that value by not keeping that boundary. And that's how you have to
Right.
kind of think of it. And, that's why I tell people like you need a physical list sometimes, like actually taking pen to paper, writing out.
Mm.
I would say like get a piece of paper, do a line down the middle on one side, write the qualities you're looking for in a partner and be really specific and like the inner qualities like are they going to be the one picking up the kids from school because they're a great dad, like be really specific of like moments that you would want this person to embody and to be. And on the other side, do you match those things? Because a lot of times like people say, I want someone that's in super great shape and super health conscious and is really into fitness, but if you're not that kind of person as well, they're probably not going to be interested in you, right? So you have to match the person that, you're looking to meet. So I think having like a physical list, and if there's, if you've noticed there's places that you want to improve upon, now is a great opportunity to take up a new hobby, to join a gym, to get together with friends for a book club, whatever it is that you want to do. But having that physical list when you're dating and you're seeing someone does not match those things, then X them out. You don't have to go out with them.
Totally. Totally. So true. And then when it comes down to it in dating, what's the difference between values and boundaries? And why do both values and boundaries matter so much when dating and even in a relationship?
Yeah, I mean, values is where it starts is, I see that all the time too. Like people will tell me in matchmaking, I want someone that matches my values, someone that, fits with my values. I'm like, well, what are those values?
Yeah.
I think a lot of people don't know how to verbalize what their values are. So I think a lot of it starts with, how do you see your home running? Like who's making money? Who's raising kids? Are there going to be kids? Are there going to be in-laws involved? Are there going to be nannies involved? Like, you know, understanding what's going to happen in the home life, I think is really important. And then also, like where are you going to be living? It's gonna be in the city, it's gonna be suburbs. It's who's gonna be cooking, who's gonna be contributing to the household. All the things you see of like day to day, how are things gonna be played out? It's important. So I think a lot of it is looking at your childhood. How are you raised? Are there things that you definitely want in your future family? Are there things you do not want to replicate from things that you grew
Right.
up with? I mean, I think
Yeah.
most of us have both. And,
Yeah.
really understanding that because a lot of people, they say like my values, but they don't really know what those are. Just anything that is really important to you. So, if you're someone that's really into like environmentalism, you're probably not going to date someone who's never recycled before. So anything that's really important to you that you're passionate about, that you volunteered for, like those are your values. And then the boundary part is not dating people, not getting in relationships with people that don't respect those values. So boundary is respecting that value.
Got it. So am I understanding correctly? Values are like what you preach, and then placing boundaries is practicing those
Hmm.
believing in those values? Is that like how it
Exactly.
would? Okay, wow. That's okay. That makes so much sense. Love that. Thank you. No, that's
Yeah.
really
You're welcome.
that's a lot of clarity with that. And when it comes back to physical attraction, because again, physical attraction's huge right now. Like everyone is all about looks in the beginning. I mean, people even will rule someone out because they're not 6 foot. They're like what, like 5'11". Like that 1 inch makes a huge difference. So
Mhm.
when someone is dating someone that they find attractive, but their values don't align. And they feel disappointed that, an attractive person isn't right for them. How can they move on instead of hanging on and fantasizing that they're going to change or that they're going to become the person that would be perfect for them? So basically, how do they go from dating fantasy to dating reality?
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like ego to me. If you are so excited that you scored a date with someone that you find hot, that's because you're insecure and you're dating from a place of insecurity rather than a place of your soul where you're looking for your soulmate. So I think, being clear of what you're looking for, having your sheet of like my values, things that I'm looking for in a partner, and
Mhm.
then dating from that rather than who's the hottest I can get. Because listen, the person you marry is probably not the hottest person you've ever had a first date
Mm.
with, but they become the hottest person when you get to know their soul and how they treat you and how they are with you in a relationship. They become that hottest person. So I think that's kind of how we have to like reframe our minds. And if you're only dating for looks, then listen, then own it. Then don't say you're looking for a soulmate, and that's
You
okay.
do you, yeah. Yeah,
Exactly. If you just want to date, the hottest people you can find, then absolutely own it, do it, but don't have expectations that this is going to be a long term
yeah,
potential. You're just trying to get some experience, have some fun, which fine, you do that, but be honest about where you're at in life.
yeah, absolutely. And I want to highlight one thing you said because I think it's so important. A lot of people do end up going into a serious relationship or marrying someone that they never thought that they would be attracted to. Not that the person's not attractive, they just were never, that was never really in the box of their type.
Mhm.
And that when they gave them the chance, like second date, third date, fourth date, because values were aligned, that attraction definitely grew. Again, not because they weren't attractive, it was just not their usual person.
Yeah,
So you
all this
highlighting
way.
that on point. Really, thank you for sharing that. And the last question on this topic is, you often say that people should date soulmates, not body mates. So can you explain the difference in a really simple way? Like, what does that mean?
Yeah, it's something that I heard when I was taking a Kabbalah class, and I thought it was so profound because it just explains everything in dating. That a lot of us are just looking for our body mates, something that we find
Mhm.
attractive, that we have a spark with on a first date, that instant chemistry, the push pull in relationships, the highs and the lows. And that's, you're feeling it in your body, like when your stomach drops because they haven't texted you for 2 days, or that thrill, that endorphin rush when you have that first kiss and it feels magical. Like that's all in your body. That's not your soul. When you have a soul connection with someone, that is like you both have the same mission on this planet. You both are passionate about the same things. Together, your lives are better. Like when I was dating before Zach, all the guys I was dating, my friends didn't like them. My family didn't like them. I wasn't doing well at work. Like my life wasn't getting better because of the men I was dating. And after meeting Zach, business got better. My relationship with my family has never been better, with friends. Like when you're with the right person, with your soulmate, everything around you gets better. And I think that's the most important thing we have to but when we date in our bodies, there's that you feel it. Like, I mean, I can't tell you the last breakup that I had, I was like for a week crying, couldn't get out of the off the couch. And I remember it was when the new Matrix movie came out, and I love the Matrix. That was like the first time I stopped crying to watch the movie. And I was like, oh, it's because of my body. Because I had a body connection with him. I didn't have a soul connection with him. So that was not coming from my soul, like emotions, all that stuff. That's like your body. And my body wasn't reacting well. It's because that wasn't dating with my soul. So if you're feeling those highs, those lows, and the ups and downs, like that's how you know you haven't been dating with your soul. And that's why
Wow.
have your list. Don't date outside of that, and really try to find out like the essence of the person. And like I can't tell you how many dates I've been on where I thought the person was cute, but like their essence, I was like, oh, this guy's not for me. And then other people, they start talking about their families and their careers and all the things they're doing. I'm like, wow, this person's really attractive
Yeah.
because of all the things he's saying, and the things that he believes in, and his life story. And it's like, wow, like that's attraction. And you know, but for women, it can change more. For men, men are a little bit more physically driven, but even then, like, I can't tell you how many guys I've spoken to that say they've had this beautiful ex, mental health issues, drove them crazy, and now they're like, never again. So sometimes you have to go
Live and
through
learn.
yeah, exactly. You have to go through the
Live and
experiences to
learn.
kind of come
Mhm.
out the other end.
Yep. They gotta live and learn. And those girls gotta go to coaches and they'll be Also much better.
Yep.
Whew. So, to our listener who submitted this question, best of luck. Definitely follow Anna's advice. Be more picky, hold true to your values, and stick to your boundaries. And hopefully that will lead you on the roadmap to a very special guy. So, best of luck. Anna, thank you so much for being your expertise and practical advice today. I love how you combine clear boundaries, self awareness, and real world dating strategies to help people succeed in love. Anna, before we go, where can our listeners connect with you and learn more about your coaching and matchmaking programs?
Sure. And thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun and it
Pleasure
flew
having you.
by.
I know.
Um,
It was so much fun.
you can find me at annamorgenstern.com. It's my website. I have a lot of information there. And my Instagram at Anna Morgenstern. I have lots of fun dating tips and things for you to check out there. And if you DM me, I always respond.
Amazing. She actually does always respond. That's how I got this on the podcast situation going. So definitely DM her, guys. What she says is true. And on that note, here's today's last word inspired by Anna's coaching. Healthy relationships don't happen by accident. They come from clarity, self awareness, and leading by example. When you show up as the partner you want to attract and date within your values, love becomes simpler, more fulfilling, and lasting. So if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with a friend who could use some dating clarity. And as always, continue dating with clarity, courage, and confidence. Until next time, happy dating. The content in this podcast is for entertainment and is not mental health, medical, or personal relationship counseling. It is not a substitute for professional expertise and judgment from a licensed healthcare or mental health professional. You should seek the advice of a qualified professional when seeking mental health or medical advice to obtain a diagnosis or any treatment regarding your mental health or well-being. The content in this podcast may not be applicable to you and your specific situation. Topics discussed in this podcast may include information that may be considered sensitive or emotionally charged to some people, and therefore listener discretion is advised. References to third-party resources are for informational purposes only, and 52 Inc. takes no responsibility for the content of those resources. This podcast is copyrighted 2025 by 52 Inc., all rights reserved.